Let's be brutally honest about the moment you destroy your account. It doesn't happen when you are calm. It doesn't happen when you are thinking about risk management. It happens when something inside you snaps. You know exactly the feeling I am talking about. You are in a trade, you are watching the candles print, and suddenly the market rips against you. You see the red number on your P&L expand. And in that split second you don't feel like a professional analyst. You feel like you have been physically attacked. The heat starts at the base of your spine and shoots up into your skull. Your vision actually narrows. That is a biological fact. Your peripheral vision shuts down because your brain thinks you are in a fight for your life. Your pulse hammers in your ears. And a voice in your head screams one single command: fix this. Fix this right now. So you click the button. You double down. You widen your stop loss. You enter a random trade in the opposite direction just to feel the rush of being in the fight. And 10 minutes later, you are staring at a blown account, feeling a level of shame and emptiness that is hard to explain to anyone who isn't a trader. The entire trading industry looks at that reaction and tells you that you are broken. They tell you that you are too emotional. They tell you that you need to meditate more. They tell you to be like a monk, to be zen, to be a robot that feels absolutely nothing when thousands of dollars vanish from the screen. I'm here to tell you that is a lie. That advice is not just wrong, it is destructive. It is setting you up to fail over and over again. You are never going to be a robot. You are a human being with a nervous system built for survival. If you try to suppress that fire, if you try to bottle up that aggression and pretend it doesn't exist, you are building a bomb. You might stay calm for a week. You might stay calm for a month. But eventually, the pressure will get too high, the seal will break, and you will go on a rampage that destroys months of hard work in a single afternoon. The problem isn't your aggression. The problem isn't your intensity. The problem isn't that you have a fire burning inside you. The problem is that you have no idea where to aim the flame. The most dangerous traders in the world, the ones who pull millions out of these markets, are not passive. They are not asleep. They are intensely aggressive. They have the same killer instinct that you do. They have the same desire to conquer the market. But there is one fundamental difference between them and the amateur who blows up every 3 months. The amateur uses their aggression to attack the market. The professional uses their aggression to attack their own lack of discipline. Think about a flamethrower. In the hands of a disciplined soldier, it clears a path. It is a tool of precision and power. In the hands of a child, it burns the house down. The fuel is the same. The fire is the same. The only difference is the direction of the nozzle. Right now your nozzle is pointed at the chart. You take a loss and you want to punish the market. You want to force the S&P 500 to respect you. You want to scream at the euro. But the market is an inanimate object. It is a stream of data. It does not care if you scream. It does not care if you go broke. It does not care if you get rich. Trying to fight the market is like trying to fist fight a hurricane. You will just get wet and then you will get destroyed. But what happens if you turn that nozzle around? What happens if you take that massive surge of adrenaline, that fight or flight energy, and you aim it directly at your own process? This is the concept of weaponized discipline. Most people think discipline is boring. They think it means sitting still and doing nothing. That is a weak definition. Real discipline, the kind that makes you rich, is violent. It requires force. It requires you to grab your own impulses by the throat and pin them to the ground. When a professional trader takes a loss, they feel the same anger you do. Do not let anyone tell you otherwise. Losing money hurts. It is supposed to hurt. But the professional takes that anger and channels it into a forensic audit of their execution. They don't click buy again. They aggressively open their journal. They attack the data. They force themselves to look at the mistake under a microscope. Do you know how much strength it takes to stop yourself when every fiber of your being wants to revenge trade? It takes the strength of a warrior. Sitting on your hands when the market is moving fast is not an act of passivity. It is an act of dominance. You are dominating your own biology. You are telling your brain, I am in charge here, not the chemicals in my blood. That is a power move. That is what aggressive consistency looks like. Let's break down exactly what is happening in your brain when you fail so you can understand the mechanics of the enemy. When you lose money, your brain registers it as pain, similar to physical pain. Your amygdala, the lizard brain, hijacks the control center. It demands immediate relief. The quickest way to get relief is to enter another trade because when you are in a trade, you have hope. Hope acts as a painkiller. So, revenge trading is actually you self-medicating. You are taking a trade to numb the pain of the previous loss. But here is the catch, that relief is fake. It is temporary. Even if you win that revenge trade, you lose. Why? Because you have taught your brain that breaking the rules is rewarded. You have reinforced a bad habit. You might make money today, but you have planted the seed of your destruction for tomorrow. Subconsciously, you know you cheated. You know you got lucky. And that guilt will eat at you, causing you to make more mistakes later. Real relief, deep relief, comes from knowing you are in control. When you take a loss and you immediately execute your shutdown protocol, when you walk away from the screens even though you are down money, you feel a different kind of sensation. It isn't pleasure. It is pride. It is the cold, hard pride of a professional who did their job. You protected your capital. You survived to fight another day. You need to fall in love with that feeling. You need to get addicted to the feeling of discipline, rather than the feeling of gambling. This mindset shift is critical because we are operating in a world where resource management is everything. As a trader, your capital is your ammunition. If you spray your bullets at everything that moves, you run out of ammo before the real target shows up. And speaking of resources and targets, we need to zoom out for a minute. You are a trader, which means you need to understand where the real money is moving in the global economy. You cannot just look at the 1-minute chart, you have to understand the battlefield. Right now, there is a war going on for the raw materials that will power the next century. We are talking about copper. Most people ignore copper. They think it's just for pipes. They are wrong. Copper is the single most critical metal for the future of technology. You cannot have artificial intelligence data centers without massive amounts of copper wiring. You cannot have an electric vehicle revolution without copper. You cannot have modern defense systems without copper. It is the new oil. Here is the reality. China currently dominates the processing and refining of this metal. The United States government knows this is a massive national security risk. They are actively scrambling to secure supply chains within the Americas to reduce reliance on overseas rivals. This is a macro trend that is going to play out over the next decade. This is why you need to be paying attention to companies like Copper Giant Resources. In the US market, their ticker is LBCMF. On the Canadian TSXV, it is CGNT. They control the Makua Copper Project, which is one of the largest undeveloped copper belts in the Americas. This isn't just a mining play, it is a geopolitical play. The CEO of Copper Giant was literally invited to the U.S. Embassy in Bogotá to discuss logistics for getting this copper to U.S. refineries. When you see national defense, government policy, and a global supply shortage all intersecting at one company, that is what we call a high-probability setup on a macro scale. As a trader, you need to be aware of these shifts. Do your own deep dive, check the links I've provided, and look at the chart for Copper Giant Resources. Now, let's bring this back to your internal battlefield. Just like the US is aggressively securing its physical resources, you need to aggressively secure your mental resources. You have a limited amount of willpower every single day. We call this mental capital. Every time you stare at a chart for 3 hours stressing over a trade that isn't moving, you are burning mental capital. Every time you scream at your monitor, you are burning mental capital. By the time the actual A+ setup arrives, you are exhausted. You are mentally bankrupt. So you miss the trade or you mess up the execution. Aggressive consistency is about guarding your energy with a shield wall. It means being ruthless about what you pay attention to. You need to start viewing yourself not as a gambler but as a sniper. Think about the psychology of a sniper. A sniper lies in the mud for 3 days waiting for one target. Is the sniper passive? No. The sniper is in a state of intense, active waiting. His heart rate is controlled. His breathing is rhythmic. His finger is on the trigger, taking up the slack but not breaking the shot. Every second of that waiting is an act of aggression. He is hunting. The amateur trader is not a sniper. They are a guy with a machine gun blindfolded, spinning in circles, holding the trigger down. They make a lot of noise, they burn a lot of ammo, and eventually they shoot themselves in the foot. You have to decide today which one you are going to be. If you want to be the sniper, you have to embrace the pain of waiting. And let's be clear, discipline is painful. It hurts to not take a trade when you are bored. It hurts to take a loss and walk away. But you have to choose your pain. You can choose the pain of discipline, which weighs ounces, or you can choose the pain of regret, which weighs tons. The pain of discipline eventually turns into pride. The pain of regret turns into self-hatred. So, how do we operationalize this? How do we take this philosophy and turn it into a physical action plan for tomorrow morning? I want to give you a specific protocol. We will call it the rage audit. Tomorrow the market will challenge you. It is guaranteed. You will take a trade that looks perfect and it will fail. The red mist will descend. You will feel that urge to double down. In that exact moment, I want you to physically stand up. Push your chair back. Break the circuit. Do not touch the mouse. I want you to open your trading journal, whether it's a notebook or a spreadsheet, and I want you to channel all that rage into typing. Write down exactly what happened. But don't just write the numbers. Write the emotion. Write, I am angry because the market stopped me out by one tick. I want to buy back in. I want to fight. Put it on the paper. Something magical happens when you articulate the emotion. It moves from your amygdala, the emotional center, to your prefrontal cortex, the logical center. By the time you finish writing that sentence, the urge to revenge trade will have dropped by 50%. You have taken the energy that was going to destroy your account, and you used it to create data. You have turned a weapon used against you into a weapon used for you. This is what I mean by aiming the aggression. You aren't suppressing the anger. You are using the anger to fuel your documentation process. You are becoming a scientist of your own psychology. And here is the secret that nobody tells you. Aggressive consistency allows you to trade bigger. Everyone tells you to trade small to manage emotions. That is true when you are a beginner with no brakes. If you are driving a car with no brakes, you have to drive 10 miles per hour. But if you build a braking system that is indestructible, if you trust yourself implicitly to stop when you are wrong, you can drive at 200 miles per hour. When you have proven to yourself that you can take a loss without tilting, you earn the right to increase your size. You can step on the gas when the setup is right because you know you won't drive off the cliff. This is how you scale. You don't scale by trying harder. You scale by proving you have control. Stop looking for the magic indicator. The magic indicator is you. It is your ability to sit in the fire and not burn. I want you to change the narrative in your head. Stop telling yourself you have psychology issues. That is a victim mindset. Start telling yourself you are a high-performance engine that just needs tuning. You have the hunger. You have the drive. You are willing to take risks that 99% of the population is too scared to take. That makes you special. That makes you dangerous. But a dangerous weapon without a safety catch is a liability. You need to install the safety catch. Every morning before you turn on your screens, look in the mirror and ask yourself, who is showing up today? The gambler or the operator? The gambler wants excitement. The gambler wants to be right. The gambler wants to be the hero who catches the bottom. The operator wants execution. The operator wants to follow the plan. The operator doesn't care about being the hero. The operator cares about survival and profit. Kill the gambler. Feed the operator. When you finish this video, do not just click to the next one. Do not just let the algorithm feed you another dopamine hit. I want you to sit in silence for 2 minutes. Look at your last 5 losses. Be honest with yourself. Did you lose because the market was rigged? Or did you lose because you let the energy leak out? Take responsibility. That is the ultimate aggression. Taking total, extreme ownership of your results is the most aggressive thing you can do in a world full of victims. The market is going to open again. It is a beast that never sleeps. It is going to try to take everything from you. It is going to test your patience, your resolve, and your bank account. Are you going to let it push you around? Or are you going to stand your ground, follow your rules, and execute with the cold, hard violence of a professional? The choice is yours. The power is yours. The fire is yours. Aim it correctly. Check out Copper Giant resources in the description if you want to align your portfolio with the supply chains of the future.